gracious nomination and second. I am extremely honored to be here today. We are not going to do a parade. Let me introduce myself. My name is Joseph Chiang. I was born in a foreign country called Washington, D.C. You may have heard of it. It is a great place to be from. My wife and I and our fur babies have chosen to live in Tolna, North Dakota, because this is such a warm state. Not the weather, the people. Since coming to North Dakota, my focus has been on education. In Virginia, I campaigned for Dwight David Eisenhower, and I was a delegate for the GOP state convention that nominated John Warner and later got him elected. I have a long history with the GOP. However, I am now nonpartisan ever since I became an educator. I believe that education should be nonpartisan. As mentioned, I spent over 30 years in business, including 8 years in the Garden Reserve. I fixed businesses until I learned that I could get rich as a teacher. Let me share a little of the riches with you. Before I actually got fully into education, I did substitute teaching to find out that's what I wanted to do. I had a physical education class I was to take over, and I had a middle school student, I'll call him Bobby. Well, Bobby was a lot like me, a little bit on the scout side. And the assignment was to run the mile in 13 minutes or less. And I told them that they would run it in 13 minutes. If they didn't make it the first time, I would run with them for the second time. And this poor child, his face just dropped. Well, first time around, he didn't make it. So I got with him. There were 2 other students just to make sure that I ran. But I ran with this young man, and I taught him how to set short-term goals. We're going to run to this spot. Then we're going to walk. Then we're going to run to another spot. The end result, we made it in under 13 minutes. And then, this young man floated to the locker room. Cha-ching. My education bank filled to the brim. President Obama, who no one here considers a conservative, said he would give money to control North Dakota schools, and the incumbent said, bring on the money. President Obama said, I want North Dakota to adopt Common Core, and the incumbent said, we will adopt Common Core. And then she proceeded to ram it down the throats of every parent, teacher, and student, with citizens kicking and screaming the whole time. President Obama then said, I want you to test Common Core. And the incumbent said, we will test Common Core. And we are testing Common Core right now, this month, in the schools. This brings me to a question. Does President Obama really represent North Dakota Republican values? Well, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is education is broken. The good news is it can be fixed. In an informal survey, I found that 100% of people believe there is something wrong with schools. Maybe that concern comes from college-educated adults being unable to help their children with elementary math homework. Parents have seen that students cannot read everyday important works like the Federalist Papers or the Bible. Fourth grade students used to be able to read and understand these. Children cannot work simple math fractions in a way that is transferable to higher math. And where have so many people learned that interfering with other people's freedom of speech and access to the political process is acceptable? This year, for the first time, our students have to take a civics test that any sixth grader should be able to pass without study. One question is, who was our first president? Another one is, what is celebrated on the 4th of July? This test is now mandatory for our students because the majority of our legislators want at least a 6th grade basic knowledge of civics. They know our education system is broken, they just aren't willing to call it broken. And the answer to this is participating in Common Core. Several states did not participate in Common Core. North Dakota could have been one of them. Don't be fooled. North Dakota is in Common Core because the incumbent demanded North Dakota be in Common Core as President Obama asked. North Dakota is just one conservative state with just one vote among many liberal states like Vermont, Delaware, Hawaii, and California, the Smarter Balance Consortium. They are testing our children right now on their values. Do we want North Dakota to follow Bernie Sanders' state telling us what our moral values should be and how to teach and raise our children? I say no. The Department of Public Instruction says there will be no opt-outs next year. I promise when elected, there will be no Common Core test to opt out of. That we have quality educational textbooks that are free of agendas. I will find the funds to get decent textbooks for all the schools. North Dakota will have to keep Common Core standards upon which the test is based if we follow the Every Student Succeeds Act. The Every Student Succeeds Act has a backdoor problem. If colleges say they want a particular test, the state is then mandated to follow that test. So if they choose the smarter, well not smarter test, if they choose a Common Core test, then we will then have to follow Common Core. And that test is based on the Common Core standards. And we will then have the hard textbook materials that teach to that test. The superintendent has to take action to prevent this. As superintendent, I will take action to prevent this. There are problems with education that can be fixed, but the biggest problem is the way schools are funded. Funding and test scores are tightly aligned. Partial school had their income double and their pass rates fall to single digits. 4 wins, Class B state champion 4 wins, their pass and their income was cut this last year, $80,000. $500,000 over the last few years of improvement. Does this sound like the kind of funding that makes sense? My former school administrators, not my current ones, but former ones, they told me, and I quote, "Under no circumstances are you to fix math education in our school." Why? They were looking for a $250,000 a year grant based on poor test scores.
It's bizarre.
And they knew that I could fix it, and they wanted to make sure I did. They wanted to keep education growing. Most parents know what's best for their children. Teachers know what their children need to learn. Once I am elected, parents will have as much say as they want in their children's education, and teachers will write the standards and tests. We do not have to spend millions of dollars to out-of-state companies to educate our children. Our teachers are intelligent and capable. They can do it. Education cannot be fixed with education jargon like rigor or college or career ready. The problem is current rigor is less than it used to be. We all call it rigor when high school graduates cannot read as well as fourth graders used to. I think this is less rigor. And a great way to make graduates college and career ready is for graduating students to be able to read and write on a 12th grade level. It would also be great if they could actually count back change. Another buzzword is statistical evidence. By the way, I did ask if Common Core had any statistical evidence that it would help our students get a 90% proficiency rate. There is no record of it. I have seen several programs forced on teachers and students that when given to students where 25% of them are passing, statistically prove that it will raise to 30%. These methods were hailed as statistically proven methods. It is true, 30% is better than 25%. But is there anyone to be happy with 30% pass rates? I am not impressed. No wonder our pass rates have gone from 77% to 40% over the last 4 years. The question that needs to be asked of every school official is there any statistical evidence that, I don't care what the program is, but your program will help our students achieve 90% proficiency or higher in math or language? None of these programs do. So why are we spending time and money on something that is not proven to fix education to 90% or more? Why pay money for a program with 30% success rate? Speaking of money, the North Dakota Constitution says the state will provide a free common school education. How many of you have property taxes that say school tax on them? There are those who do not pay property tax. So I guess the school is not free for some, but free for others. And some of you who do not even have children in school are paying for the school property tax. So our free education maybe is not so free. This is unconstitutional. Under 2 clauses. Schools are a regular operating expense for the state. Therefore, under the North Dakota Constitution, property tax may not be used to fund regular expenses, ongoing expenses for the state. I will make sure education follows the North Dakota Constitution, which will save every property owner a lot of money, just as the writers of the North Dakota Constitution intended. I am not running against anything. I am running for fixing education. I believe parents are not interested in partisan politics. They just want their children to learn. What will the great state of North Dakota be like if we maintain our 40% pass rate, or if it keeps dropping? What will your child and your grandchild's future be like if they cannot read, write, or do math? I ask you for your help to fix education for their sakes. There are many that believe the position of superintendent is no longer nonpartisan. The position is nonpartisan for a reason. Thank you. The incumbent has openly stated she is proudly partisan, but should our children be a prize to be won in an election?
Yeah.
The citizens of North Dakota understand this and will vote for the children in November. Will the GOP vote for the children now? The future of North Dakota is too important to be reduced to the whims of partisan politics. We need to cast aside partisan politics. We need to cast aside partisan politics for the sake of our children. The choice in this election is clear. It is between liberal partisan politics or what is best for North Dakota's children. It is time to choose. Choose between partisan politics and the children. Choose the children.